To start the product update, I would like to introduce you to Deborah Moore, who joined Celero in September of last year. Deborah joined us from Van City, where she held a variety of roles, including Director of Member Solutions and previously Manager of Digital Engagement and Banking. Over to you, Deborah.
Thanks, Leanne. So we've established a digital transformation consultancy practice here at Celero to support credit unions as they develop and implement their own digital transformation strategies. We've heard from many of you that you want Celero to provide more strategic support to enable you to better navigate the unparalleled change and disruption we are experiencing in our industry. Technology and societal changes are driving how our members and consumers interact with technology throughout the course of all of their daily living. And amidst all of this change, consumers' expectations for personalized, connected, contextualized, and transparent experiences across all of their interactions, including the digital ones, are rapidly growing. It's a tall order. While at the same time, our industry's regulatory burden continues to increase, barriers to entry are lifting for emerging digital innovators that are rising to meet the growing needs of the digital consumer and coming into our space. Yeah, we'll stay on that slide, thanks. So this changing landscape is driving new business models. We're seeing new models emerge as a result. There are a number of key global trends that are influencing these changes. If we look to the UK, we see a number of challenger banks that have grown up there. They've reached the over 1 million customer mark. These challenger banks are digital native banks that largely have grown out of fintechs. Some of them started without banking licenses originally and now have a banking license because the new regulatory regime there is enabling that and cultivating more competition. What's interesting there is you're seeing the rebundling of the banks. So these challenger banks typically had one product or service that they did a great job of and had a really great experience, but they didn't have a full suite of services. They're now rebundling the bank by using a number of different fintechs as partnership and creating platforms where one application can provide a whole host of integrated services using all of these different fintech. They're not recreating those products. And then we could look to big tech and fintech, and particularly Amazon as an example of the unbundling of the bank, which is systematically going through banking and looking at all of the services and products that are traditionally provided by a bank. They are targeting the high margin and high fee income areas and creating specific Amazon branded solutions for consumers. And then if we look at some lifestyle platforms that are emerging, particularly out of China, we see WeChat and Ant Financial or Alipay, which goes beyond the bank. You can basically do everything you need to do in a particular day within that particular application without ever having to go outside of that application. They've surpassed the 1 billion customer mark, and they are growing into areas like Indonesia, India, and then also into some regions of Scandinavia. And then here in Canada, we see open banking starting to become a conversation amongst our government. So Department of Finance has created an advisory committee looking into open banking, and the public consultation process on open banking has started. Many of you would have seen the CCOA response to open banking. I was part of a open banking roundtable with the government in Vancouver in the last couple of weeks. So we can't predict exactly what open banking will look like. We can look for hints to Australia, what's happened in UK and EU, because we will probably take those learnings. But I do expect that there are going to be changes coming that are going to influence how we need to adapt and innovate into the future. And we see this rise of this consumer experience economy where we're competing now and having to differentiate on experience, which is requiring us to be able to adapt and innovate as a result. And in terms of what digital transformation means for an organization, we quite often think of digitization of the organization, where it's taking our extending our existing capabilities online or automating our processes. But digital transformation is really a transformation of your culture, the technology, and ways of working so that you can help deliver and measure value in a different way. For example, if you look at the continuum of the digital transformation journey on the right-hand side of this slide, you'll see that there's continual optimization. This is data-driven, insights-driven, continual improvement of your processes, your operations, and those experiences for your members, and the evolution of new business models because you've become a more adaptable organization. If you could advance that slide. Our framework for continuous transformation provides credit unions with a path forward to enable them to transform their organizations iteratively and to scale that over time. We provide a number of services under each of the 5 phases illustrated in gray, and we employ 2 key principles. The services are offered a la carte, as we recognize that many credit unions are in different places and have different in-house capabilities. And secondly, for organizations who don't have specific capabilities in-house today, we can help to build that competency towards self-reliance in that area if needed. The framework is built on the foundation of identifying and understanding member needs and optimizing end-to-end member journeys across touch points. So when I talk about a journey, I'm not talking about just simply an account opening process. I'm looking at the end-to-end onboarding journey as an example. This requires a shift from product centricity to member centricity and helps to avoid the shiny initiative syndrome that we sometimes experience as organizations, while also galvanizing and aligning teams around meeting member needs and solving real member problems. I can use a specific example from my Van City days where we saw a proliferation of predatory lenders in our communities. We reached into those communities and identified the underlying root causes and invited members into our innovation process. This enabled us to build solutions that address their real needs. We then tested and iterated the solution over time, first offering it within the branches and then iterating that based on feedback, real feedback from our members, and then creating a digital solution. It was highly successful on all fronts and was used as a sustainable example to help influence the reduction in the criminal rate of interest from 60% to 40% at the Senate. The reason why I use that example is essentially by and founding your solutions and member need, you're able to support true innovation, which leads to more holistic solution and create a bigger point of differentiation for your organization. That's the slide. So in terms of how we can add value to you through your journey, we can, as I mentioned, align for member centricity to increase the retention and loyalty, help you to define a path that makes sense for your organization to achieve the digital ambition that you want to achieve, and then help to build agility to continuously improve and adapt, to create that adaptable organization. We know that organizations that are digital leaders have that agility and flexibility built into all facets of their organization. And technology is one of those key enablers. It's really critical that you have the flexibility built in there.